Calling this meeting to order, Monday, January 29th, 6 p.m. Chair, would you do a roll call, please? She's excused.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Here.
He's excused. All right. This is an open meeting and has been posted. Please join me for a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. None? Okay. Please join me for a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. All right, we don't have any recognitions today. Citizens' comments, we do not have any, so we will go into presentations. Food service update. Batter up.
Front and center. So Pam is with us tonight to go over the food service program.
Shows that we're going to end up basically on budget. For future, if you want to not lose money, there will be a need for price increases unless the federal government increases reimbursement rates. The reimbursement rates for this school year were cut by 37 cents compared to last year, so 37 cents per meal that we're getting less than last school year. Hopefully they'll increase that for next year, but there isn't any indication thus far that we will do that. Out of that 450,000, there is about 150,000 that was spent on a dishwasher for the central kitchen and a new delivery van. So those are not recurring expenses. The dishwasher in the central kitchen was 29 years old. So I know we have other dishwashers, but that is not an annual expense. Equipment purchases, 171,000. So our remaining fund balance, even after purchasing that equipment, is 1,145,000. Before we take out the rest of that loss, the 439,000, but we're still going to have a very healthy fund balance.
So I'm sorry I wasn't in here. I'm sorry.
Just for new board, I don't know if I'm on. Am I on? Okay. For new board members and community members, can you go into detail, or Pam, could you, about why we're okay with losing that much money? Because I have the history on that, but I just want to make sure everybody understands why.
And that's what I was going to get to here. So the amount of fund balance the United States Department of Agriculture allows for us, and that's their policy, correct there, Pam, the USDA's? The USDA's policy is that you cannot have more than 3 months of operating expenses as fund balance. So, you know, throughout the pandemic, we were given larger reimbursements. We were providing food service throughout the summer months, and there was a lot of federal subsidies that were being given to us. So that as we increased our fund balance, then the same folks who gave us the money said, "You have too much money." So we said, okay, well, what we ultimately did was freeze our lunch prices. Then since 2019, we haven't raised them, anticipating there would be a loss and that we would then walk our fund balance down to what they called acceptable levels. So in other words, we really held down our food service costs and intently incurred a loss to fall in line with the policies that they have for us. So it was all by design. We could have avoided all this by increasing prices, which we chose not to do.
But then we would have had to spend some of our fund balance, just to bring our fund balance down within line. Now, just recently, the USDA increased the limit on your fund balance, but we didn't know that last year when we were deciding prices and when we were setting budget. So before that change in policy, the balance that we were allowed to have was the 906,000 there, and we had $1,000,003. So we needed to spend 400,000, which was what we needed to get through this school year without raising lunch prices. So that worked out well.
So yeah, I think, you know, when we chose lunch prices, and we set those every year about May, you know, as we look at the upcoming student fees across the board, lunch fees are obviously in that. When we, if you recall, you may not, but if you recall, we said we will revisit food service prices if need be at some point of the school year. So we're past the halfway point now with the first semester being completed. I think everything looks fine. So we certainly could increase our prices mid-year. Now, we've never done that since I've been here over the last 8 years. Pam?
It's never been done in the 29 years I've been.
Okay.
But I know that somewhere in the early 1980s it was done because in the Reagan administration they made really big cuts to school food service funding, most of which were really justified. There was a lot of waste going on way back then, and that created a situation, and I heard stories of that Mukwonago, plus lots of other school districts, had to raise lunch prices during the course of that school year because they were finding out that it was pretty difficult to live on the reimbursement rates that they were being given.
So I don't think at this time we're looking to make a recommendation that we consider that. I think we're okay at this time leaving it as is. Again, the budget's playing out as designed. And as we take a look at the 24-25 school year, we can reconsider those prices and perhaps putting an increase on those for the first time in a while. So it's probably time in that regard.
Well, and certainly since 2019, we are dealing with much higher expenditures. The prices of food and supplies, it's just, I have to make sure I'm sitting down when I place food orders because it's still kind of shocking to me. It's just like when you go to the grocery store and you go to the checkout stand. Be careful, have your blood pressure pills handy. And then our wage rates have gone up significantly as well.
What is the new number? You said they changed it. What's the new number?
The limit on, it's the bottom figure there. It's actually
The 1815?
double what it
Yep.
used to be. I think the USDA, this is just my personal opinion, but the USDA became a little embarrassed about sending letters to school districts telling them they needed to spend all this money after they had just showered us with money through the COVID years. It was kind of crazy. So they're allowing that higher fund balance so that districts have time to spend it down without doing something foolish.
So I think in a sense, when we made the decision to hold the line on food prices, if we, the taxpayers, are the ones who ultimately fund the government, then we could cut these funds directly back to families by just ultimately keeping their lunch prices stable than not moving. So that was, I think, kind of the underlying philosophy there. But yeah, it went from 3 months fund balance is allowable to 6 months fund balance. So it's exactly double those bottom two lines there.
Any other questions, Erica?
Just a comment. Way to go, keeping one single dishwasher going 29 years. I mean, that shows our commitment to
Yeah.
not spending money.
We have a long history of that, of food service employees taking really good care of equipment and, using it carefully, and we maintain it. We buy good quality, we don't buy cheap equipment usually, and then we spend what's needed to maintain it properly, so it pays off, it really does.
Pam, you and that dishwasher started the same year together.
Yeah, well, you know what, that dishwasher, they don't make parts for it anymore, and I'm finding the same thing is true for me personally. All my body parts are wearing out.
So Pam, is there anything else going on that we should know about?
And actually, if you're done with that, on that note, I think most people are aware, because I've been talking about it incessantly, that I am retiring at the end of the school year. I really do want to thank you for the pleasure and the privilege of working for MASD for all this time. It's really been wonderful.
Well,
So,
thank
yeah.
you for your commitment and all of the years that you have put in. We really appreciate it. Even going through some really hard years the last 4 or 5 years.
So-
So thank you.
And on behalf of the whole school district, the kids that you fed for 30 years, and all of us here, I just want to say thank you and congrats on your upcoming retirement. So yeah.
Congratulations.
So
And for
Pam
board
has
members that haven't been or visited Central Kitchen, please go visit Pam before she leaves, and she gives a great tour. It's amazing the job they do with the little staff they have, feeding their kids every day in, day out.
The central kitchen is something most people have never seen, and we just love giving tours. So, yeah, if you want to pop in and get a tour.
The high school. It's at the high school.
It's at the high school, right, room 64.
Amazing. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Pam.
Moving on to student rep report.
All right, we have Kyle and Kylie with us this evening. We had a good opportunity to meet today, review the report, which they'll deliver momentarily.
Have you two been to the central kitchen before?
I hadn't. I was like, but I guess we're taking a tour on Thursday to see where it is.
Awesome.
I'm actually excited to see it though now.
Yeah.
Just seeing how they get the food to like all the different schools and the planning goes in, it's crazy.
All right, so we're going to start off our report with the Mukwonago High School. The freshman class officers were able to fill 112 stockings for veterans and our local community in their Christmas Stocking for Veterans drive.
All right, now for Rolling Hills Elementary. Rolling Hills winter activities are continuously going strong. They currently offer boys basketball, ski and snowboard club at Alpine Valley, Girl Scouts and study club after school, which is supported by the PTO. And then during their upcoming data days on February 1st and 2nd, they will be discussing the student FAST test scores, intervention data, and classroom progress to determine intervention/enrichment groups and whether or not students are making appropriate progress toward their end-of-year goals. The Rolling Hills Student Council sponsored their Feed the Dream food drive, which took place during the week of January 16th through the 19th. Feed the Dream is a county-wide service project centered around Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Rolling Hills also wants to give a huge shout-out to all the volunteers, parents, and staff who made the Harlem Wizards basketball games a giant success for our community. The funds raised will be shared between the elementary school's PTO projects. Rolling Hills is currently raising funds as well to support the construction of a pavilion for an outdoor learning space next to their butterfly garden.
Moving on to Prairie View Elementary. Prairie View would like to celebrate Logan W. as their school spelling bee winner and they wish him luck as he advances to the regional spelling bee in February. And they would also like to celebrate their Rotary Teacher of the Month for January, Tom Canoff. He's shown dedication to fostering a positive and engaging learning environment and has not only impacted the students, but has also earned him the admiration of his peers. His commitment to excellence and innovative teaching methods, truly sets him apart. This is a well-deserved honor and is a reflection of his hard work and the positive influence he brings to Prairie View.
For Big Bend Elementary, in January, Big Bend Elementary School students kicked off the PTO Snowman Contest. Students have until March to enter, and students have been currently working hard at home and at recess to create the perfect snowman.
Moving on to Parkview Middle School. Parkview Middle School began rehearsals for the musical Mary Poppins Jr. and would like to wish good luck to the cast. They would also like to congratulate their 2 spelling bee finalists who will be headed to regionals. PVMS marketing and innovation students were able to learn about the marketing mix of product, price, place, and promotion from local entrepreneur James Schrenk of Vintage Vault Arcade. PVMS would also like to notify 6th and 7th grade families of course information night coming up soon. PVMS also sang carols in their halls before break, along with special guests.
Now moving on to community education. Baking and exercising is this month's theme for community education. With New Year's resolutions being made, they saw a bunch of new enrollment in all the program's exercise classes, which include yoga, line dancing, and a variety of other new workout activities. Another class recently reached capacity in January, and it is the artisan bread making class led by Julie Toman, a retired culinary arts instructor who is also teaching a 3rd soup class in March. Marla Anderson resumed teaching for the program and is offering 3 monthly art classes this winter. The first class is Valentine Tiered Tray Chalk Paste class is set for Monday, January 29th, and it still has openings, which is today, so I don't know if it still has opening.
Section would like to celebrate their school spelling bee winner, Charlotte, who will be competing in the regional spelling bee in February. Section would also like to celebrate their band, orchestra, and vocal music concert that went on even after having to be rescheduled due to weather.
For Clarendon Avenue Elementary, right before Christmas break, staff delivered a gift card Christmas tree to Mary, a 2nd grade student, and her family. Mary was recently diagnosed with leukemia and has been so courageous in the early stages of her treatment. On the last day before break, CES holds its school-wide sing-along. During this activity, several staff members made the event extra special by dressing up as Santa and his best elf friend, as well as several other staff members who performed a special dance to entertain the students. The Harlem Wizards also came to Mukwonago and put on an awesome event for their community. 6 teachers from CES played on the Mucktown Magic basketball team. These teachers put on a great display of basketball skills and dance moves.
Moving on to student concerns. With the start of the 2nd semester, we sent out another student concern form, and there was a resounding reply from students that they were very content with their current schedule, and they were also not happy with the amendment to policy 0141.1. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. Looking for approval of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of January 15th, 2024, and approval of vouchers and receipts. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, consent agenda is approved. We don't have any policies today. Moving on to personnel topics. Director's report.
Last month I presented on the handbook, and I'll be presenting on that again tonight, looking for a recommendation to adopt the professional staff handbook. I also presented on the employee clinic, and Tom and I are presented on that together, looking to open that up to all employees, not just employees who have elected to take advantage of our health benefits. And then lastly, presented on staff retention, specifically for our buildings and grounds and custodial staff, and looking at 2 specific strategies. One is a signing bonus of $250, and the other is an increase in the base compensation wage to $19 per hour for those staff to help aid in the staff retention.
Any questions or comments? Moving on to personnel, or to student learning topics.
So we discussed 3 things as part of student learning. One was to inform the board that we're going to return to the kindergarten staggered start for the 2024-25 school year. And then the other 2 are on action items tonight, and that is a discussion of bringing weighted grades for AP classes to MHS next year, and then also presented information on the new schedule. And we'll be asking for action on that tonight.
Moving on to student services. Well, we have none, so we're moving on to finance and facilities.
We talked about 2 things last meeting. 2 are on the action, under action items. The other 2, the first was we discussed the 23-24 current year budget to date. And I provided an overview of that, really looking at our salaries and benefits, which makes up 75% of our total budget, and then all other expenditures, which makes up the other 25%. So I share no concerns at this time. The other item that we discussed was a small territory detachment petition that was filed with our school district. There's a family from the Palmyra Eagle Area School District who would like to detach from their district and join ours. We've invited that family to our meeting coming up here in February, and they'll have a chance to attend the committee of the whole and explain their reasons why, and you can ask questions and so on and so forth. So that'll be coming our way here soon.
Any questions or comments? All right, thank you. Moving on to action items. Policies.
So there are 3 policies we presented on last time that we are looking to adopt. The first is policy 0167, the use of personal communication devices. And if you remember, we're just looking to redact letters A, B, and C. Those are policies that we don't have in place, and so just redacting those items from the policy. Do you want me to go through each one of them?
I think we went through these at the cow. Any board members want them to go through that again?
I'm looking at it. So are you striking A, B, and C, or are you adding them?
Striking them.
And so then D will be A and E will be B?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, no more questions.
So then in policy 3281, this is the personal property of staff members. Again, we have this policy for our support staff, so this is just adding it for our professional staff as well.
Okay.
And then the last one is 7540. And the additions here are really specific to one, that first edition, the letter B under responsible use guidelines for all users. We want anybody who is driving our vehicles with students to be using hands-free equipment when they're talking on the phone. And then the other piece under student privacy, we added some language specific to not being able to record or take pictures in those specific places listed. So we would be looking to adopt these policies.
I'd like to make a motion to pass all these policies as written.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion?
I guess I would just ask for clarification moving forward. Like your motion states, let's pass these as written, which I support, but what is as written in our packet are not clean, like corrected formal policies. So I'm wondering if we show them side by side, because as Cherry pointed out, like everything would be shifted and moved, so we're not actually approving a new finished policy. We are approving proposed changes, not the actual.
So you're making a motion to approve the changes to these policies.
Correct. Any further questions or discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Moving on to employee handbook for professional staff.
All right, so presented this several times. So this is the employee handbook. Again, you have a clean version in front of you. The only thing that is still, I would say, not finalized in this are the page numbers. And the reason that we have not finalized those is that any small change that you might suggest shifts the page numbers, and so we wanted to wait on that until after tonight. Should you move to recommend this, we will finalize those. And by off, they might be off by 1 page or 2. But should this be adopted, we will go forward to all of our staff, making sure that they have opportunities to hear about these changes, myself and the rest of the executive cabinet members, making sure that they, again, understand how this handbook will be implemented. But at this point in time, we are looking for a recommendation to adopt this as the professional handbook for certified staff.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this handbook, or the new staff employee handbook for professional staff.
I'll second. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for all of the work on this. Oh, I'll have to steal these.
All right. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Moving on to staff retention.
All right, staff retention. So again, we would be looking for a recommendation to approve our 2 retention strategies. One is the $250 signing bonus to be paid to all buildings and grounds and custodial staff within their first 2 weeks of employment. And then looking at a compensation increase from that $16 an hour to $19 an hour starting base wage for all buildings and grounds positions.
I make a motion to move this forward.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
I get jobs that are around town, and this is very competitive for some of the jobs for the same thing in town, so hopefully we would be able to get some people that would like to work for us.
See no other, do you have something, Jake? You want to say? Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Moving on to budget calendar.
All right, I brought forward a proposed 24-25 budget development calendar. That will be the calendar we follow in the coming months as we move forward to creating a new budget for the upcoming school year.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed budget calendar for the 2024-25 calendar year.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Moving on to the HVAC controls.
Okay, so we're just bringing this forward for your approval here. So as Andy came to our last meeting and outlined our need to update our HVAC control program, we're going to consolidate all of this into one system, the Carrier iView system. We're looking to bypass the RFP process at this time. We feel that that would best serve our needs and the district needs as a whole to work with Advanced Chiller Services. We have received a number of quotes for the hourly rate, and the rate they're giving us is the lowest rate for this. We're looking to purchase the equipment directly from vendors to avoid markups and to establish a budget of $260,000, which will come from fund balance available in Fund 46.
I make a motion that we go ahead. Andy talked me into it.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Is this something to be installed over the summer? Like it'll be ready to go by fall? Or do we have a timeline? And maybe you told us, but I do not recall. Sorry.
I'll let Andy speak here, but I think I don't think in all of our buildings it'll be done across the board in all of our buildings here. Go ahead, Andy.
We'll be starting currently right away, so we would be starting within the next month on this, but we hope to have all buildings online by the start of school next year.
Is the first school going to be Clarendon or Big Bend?
Yeah, we'll be working with Clarendon and Big Bend to start because the age of the equipment that's there, there's no replacement parts on a lot of the things that are in place. I did meet with our current vendor today just to kind of talk to them about what we're dealing with and why we're moving to something different. As much as they didn't like to hear it, they understood. And so I did explain that Parkview Middle School, due to the possible referendum and things of that nature, that we were going to do that school last in the efforts to hopefully not have to do anything at that school. And then move forward with the other schools first.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor of the HVAC controls, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Moving on to employee health clinic.
All right, again, in an effort around staff retention, we are looking to open up the employee health clinic to all of our staff members. For employees who are not currently on the health benefit, they would be charged a $25 copay for a visit to the health clinic. We would be looking to open this up beginning February 1st. Tom and I would be working between now and then just on communication and making sure, again, that the clinic is ready to go. They do have the capacity to do this right now. And so, again, looking for a recommendation to approve this.
I will make a motion that we approve this proposal.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second. Any questions or comments? I would like to add an amendment to this, please. I would like to strike out employees that got paid out and declined our insurance. I just feel that's double dipping.
So you're hoping to amend our motion?
Yes, I would like to strike out employees that declined our benefits and got paid out the $3,000 to not take our insurance.
Clarification question for Rachel and maybe Tom. Those that declined the insurance are the ones that were eligible, and our goal here is really to retain, is this why you're asking for the motion, or the amendment to retain those who are not eligible?
Yes,
That's your
so
thought?
they'd,
Okay.
the people that are part-time employees, they would still get this, but if the employee, a full-time employee that declined our insurance, got paid out $3,000 not to use our insurance, that they would not be able to use this. I feel it's double dipping. They got paid out and then they're gonna get this benefit to use the clinic. I think it's double dipping.
But to clarify, they would have to pay the copay as well.
Yeah, everybody would.
So is it double dipping if they have to pay out of pocket?
$25 is a normal like copay for anybody with insurance. I think our normal employees, when they go visit a hospital or a clinic, they have to pay out of pocket. It's not free.
But
So I
some
think
of,
it's like a normal pay, and it's a benefit that they're getting that they already got paid out on.
but some of the reasons they opt out is because they have a spouse or they have something. So
Correct.
it's not that they're doing it because they don't like it or something. I just don't see that as, because this is helping, they don't get the insurance benefits. They're only getting the clinic benefits, for example, blood tests or something. So it's not like they're getting, and they may never use it because maybe their insurance has it. So I don't see that we should exclude them.
Can I just,
Oh, go
I'm sorry, can I just ask, was there a second to Dale's motion?
Oh, no, there wasn't.
There was not. So we're just discussing it. Since there's no second, the motion will fail. So going back to the original motion to approve the healthcare clinic, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. No.
Dale, can the record just show that I abstained?
Okay, moving on to MHS schedule for 24-25.
Okay, so Jim, Darren is going to join us also. I'm going to ask for approval tonight that we can move ahead with the planning of the schedule as was proposed last time. And again, a reminder that it's getting us 15 3/4 hour more per class, that it will have classes meeting 4 days a week, 3 weeks out of the month instead of only 3 days a week each week. And that we believe it provides better flexibility for things like snow days with the rotating of the schedule. I just want to let you know also that since that last meeting, I know at the last meeting we discussed flex and advisory a bit. We have done some planning around that. And Jim and I sat with a small committee of teachers or a small group of teachers and looked at the lessons that we currently do during advisory and have cut those basically in half. And so at this point, They sit to things that I believe and Jim believes are tier 1 instructional things that we need to provide for each student, such as 2 lessons on course registration, 9 lessons on academic and career planning that are part of PI 26, which is a state statute that we have to do to help students plan for their future. 5 lessons on pre-ACT and ACT, test-taking skills, study skills, things like that will be tied into that. A lesson at the beginning of the year on behaviors and PBIS, norming things that we want to see in our schools. Final exam preparation for first semester only, that would be 1 lesson, again, really concentrating on study skills and walking kids through that. 2 suicide prevention lessons that we need to do. And then 5 lessons altogether on stress management and building community for the kids. It would equal basically every other week. So right now we're doing 45 minutes of advisory every week. This would be every other week at 25 minutes. We are, in this schedule, prioritizing academics. And I think there's a ton of reasons to do that. We have one of the lowest ACT scores right now at our high school in Waukesha County, and our growth data and how much we grow the kids when we get to MHS is one of the lowest in the county, -1 school. We need to make changes in order to make improvements. I also went back, because the question was asked at the last meeting, and I just want to give an update on that, about Flex and the students that use Flex. So I went back to the survey that we gave in November of 2022 regarding what our students had to say about Flex, and I think it's important we pay attention to that too and all the academic time that's getting lost. 70.7% of our students said that they choose where they go for Flex every day instead of the teachers force flexing or bringing them in to get help. Another 18.7 said 2 times a week they were choosing for themselves. They then went on to say 72.5% of our students who did the survey said that more than 2 times a week, so either every day, 1 day a week, or 2 days a week, that they chose a Flex based on a study hall, fitness, or fun. 67.3% of our students on there said that they chose a Flex where they could spend time with friends. That's great if we have the luxury of an ACT score of 23 or higher. We're not there. We need to prioritize academics. And I truly believe that our teachers are going to be there to help students with 15 hours and 3/4 more per year. They're going to figure out a way to help those students during the day also. And like Joe mentioned in the last meeting, we are looking at things like a math lab and an ELA lab to support students. We're not going to let students drop during this, but we have to try some different things, because definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I'm asking for approval for the schedule with a consistent update and discussion around it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the new schedule as proposed.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for putting academics first and paying attention to that survey as well. That was so important. I just love that you took action right away. Thank you.
Will this new schedule necessitate like a whole new objective with the high school goals? Like when we get goals every year of principals, are we going to see something very different then in terms of our growth, or at least how it's monitored maybe?
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I should have said a comment. if you don't mind. I just want to say that I would appreciate and want to say it out loud that for the other 25% of the students that were using the flex periods as they were supposed to be used, that we, as we move forward and make plans, that we keep that in mind and figure out ways that because 25% isn't 1%, it's a large
Correct.
group.
Absolutely. We are meeting February 6th. There's a group that's going to meet and really start to dig into the needs with this new schedule and put some details together with it. So I'll provide updates
Thank you.
on that.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Moving on to 2024-2025 school year open enrollment seats.
So last week or 2 weeks ago at the Committee of the Whole, we talked about open enrollment for the 24-25 school year. So at this time, we are looking to make the following recommendations. For the 24-25 school year, we are looking to not have any open enrollment seats for the 4K through 12th grade special education programs, and that would include our 18 to 21-year-old program. Do you want me to read all of these, Joe?
Yes, please.
Okay. Then for regular education, open enrollment seats at the elementary level will be capped when a school's average class size reaches 20 students for 4K, 22 students for 5K and first grade, 24 students for second and third grade, and 27 students for fourth, fifth, and sixth. There will be no regular education caps for grades 7 through 12. Open enrollment acceptance will not be guaranteed for the 24-25 school year for current resident students who move outside of the district. An open enrollment acceptance will not be guaranteed for siblings of currently open enrolled students. But we would like the board to know that despite the caps on vacant seats, the administration values open enrollment students, and we will continue to work to find spaces when we can and when available.
I will make a motion that we approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hear none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Moving on to weighted grades at Mukwonago High School.
So I'm looking for a recommendation that we move forward in implementing weighted grades for our AP classes, and then 2 of our classes that we offer through UWGB, which would be Calc 3 and Spanish 5, which is the top level that a student can reach. There's also, we follow the UWGB curriculum for that, and there is a final test at the end that has to be given based on that. So very similar to an AP class.
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward regarding the weighted grades for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Erica?
Does the sociology class fit that because of the CLEP exam or no?
I'm not making the recommendation at this point that that would be included in the weighted grades.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor of the weighted grades at Mukwonago High School, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries.
I would like to go on record as abstaining.
Okay, moving on to hires, retirements, and resignations.
So you have a list of the administrators who were offered contracts for the 24 through the 2026 school year. And then we had 1 resignation submitted, and that was for Chester Loeffler Bell, who is our PAC manager. His resignation is effective March 1st.
I will make a motion that we approve.
Second. We have a motion and second. Any questions or comments?
Have we put a position out for the new PAC position?
We just received the resignation on Saturday,
Okay.
so I believe the posting went up today.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor of the hires, retirements, and resignations, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Moving on to unfinished business, superintendent report.
Thank you. First, I'd like to offer the recognition of Parkview Middle School's parent group for $500 towards Battle of the Books. We thank them, and we will send a letter of thank you. There's a couple of things. I mean, as we went through the action items tonight, we have Stephanie, Christine, Rachel, and Tom here. We all know they do a tremendous amount of work. Jim Darren was here, and his team definitely influenced what happened with the high school schedule and their input. Andy and all of his work around facilities led to the recommendation tonight on HVAC. But there's a couple of others that are doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Laura, Gina Burka, Sarah Scheel, Corey Mrazek. I could go on and on for the district office staff that put the time into making sure that the board has the action, the information items, and everything like that. So just a huge thank you to the teams As you saw, we had 10 action items tonight on this board. There was a lot of work that went behind the scenes to make sure everything was prepped, from making sure meetings were scheduled, making sure documents were put together. So a tremendous amount of thank you to all of the individuals who contributed to tonight's meeting. The last thing that I like to share, we don't often get good news in emails. And you guys as board members know better than anybody. But I was looped into one today from Mr. Mark Dorney. He is a wrestling official. And he said, "Today I officiated a girls varsity wrestling tournament at Horicon, and Mukwonago was one of the teams competing. During one of the matches, a Mukwonago wrestler was winning when her opponent executed an arm throw and ended up pinning the Mukwonago wrestler. At the handshake, the Mukwonago wrestler congratulated her opponent for a great move and a good match. The next round, the Mukwonago wrestler pinned her kid at the handshake, again congratulated her opponent for a great match. Her sportsmanship was the same in both matches. It didn't matter if she got pinned or did the pinning. I was happy to see the sportsmanship displayed by the Mukwonago wrestlers today, and in particular their 145-pound wrestler, Ella Schuler." So, you know, we deal with a lot of the business end of things at these board meetings, but the contributions that are happening in our extracurricular and our co-curricular opportunities for students are leading to this type of reputation that we have for our school system. So tremendous work. Ella, really appreciated getting the feedback from the official, and thank you to the wrestling coaches in this particular instance for cultivating that culture in the wrestling room.
That's awesome.
Thank you. President's report, I don't have anything, and this is our quarterly citizens' comments where citizens can comment on anything. I don't believe we have anything, correct? And we are not going to have an executive session today. That is canceled. So therefore, we're looking for a motion to end the meeting.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That